here. I rushed to leave it. No, good to see you. Good to see you. Start the form. When do you see it? Or George's turn is just a you just hear listening. Okay, no problem. Thank you. Excuse me. I wonder if are you in charge of the cameras? That's that one. My sister in charge. There you go. Yeah. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
We're ready to begin, and we're going to start with our opening statements, and we'll start with Houston. You have 3 minutes.
I'm Houston Johansson, and I'm running for City Council in District 1. I had the great privilege of growing up here in Santa Fe, so I have a deep appreciation for our rich history and our high quality of life here in Santa Fe. However, I'm terribly afraid that all of that is slowly slipping away. Our history is under assault, our way of life is under assault, our opportunities for young people and working families are disappearing bit by bit, and all of this terrifies me because this is what makes Santa Fe so wonderful. So I would pledge to you right now that as councilor, I'm going to fight tirelessly to find solutions to these problems so that that high quality of life, so that that history is available for generations to come. Now, a bit about myself. Like I said, I grew up here in Santa Fe. I also had the great opportunity to grow up in an off-the-grid house, which taught me important lessons about sustainability and our ability to live a high quality of life while protecting the environment.
I'm Patty Boucher. I'm the incumbent. I've served on the City Council close to 18 years. I've served on just about every committee there is. I continue to serve on the Finance Committee. I was the chair for a long time of the Public Works Committee. I have been the chair of the Bicycle and Trails Advisory Committee since its inception. We've had some great new trails and pedestrian amenities we've been able to create in the cities. I've been fortunate and really honored to be able to serve District 1 for all that time, and I can tell you that I've been able to shape some of the important policies that this community has created. Sustainable water policy, affordable housing. My team of supporters and constituents, we were able to collect double what was required to get public funding, and it was a really fun effort. It seemed daunting at first. However, people were very excited about it, and we collected more than we were required because we wanted to educate folks on the new system, but we also wanted to try to pay back more to the fund that the city had designated the funds from.
Now, I'm in the unique position of I did try to get public financing. I fell just a few qualifying contributions short of getting it. The reason for this is not that I didn't work hard and not that I don't have a strong message, is that I had to go out and actually meet all the voters for the first time. You know, this is the first time I've run for office. I don't know everyone, so I had to go out and knock on doors, and I did that diligently, and it was a fantastic experience. So let me begin by saying that I absolutely am supportive of these bond issues. I've been before council on a number of occasions and spoken very favorably of them. Things are difficult right now. I don't have to tell you that. We all know it. Particularly in this town where we're really a two-industry town. You've got tourism and you've got government. And of course, with the national economy and the condition it is, tourism is really taking a dive. What this bond does is immediately get people back to work. It creates about 160 jobs, which in a town of our size is a substantial amount. The ripple effect from that will probably be quite great. And I think that's fantastic, helping working families, make ends meet. I think that should be the role of government, to help people out when times are tough. The issue of how we're going to pay for ongoing staffing costs is definitely important. There's no easy answer to any of this. I think one of the best things, though, we could do initially is, as councilors, we could set a tone that says if you are a city manager and you save money this year and you're frugal with your budget, and you have a surplus, and you give it back to us, your budget next year isn't going to get cut.
Well, let's just be clear. This is going to be an increase to property taxes, which is minimal, really. I voted at council. What we were able to do at council is to send those questions to you, the voters, which is great, and I'm grateful for that, and I'm not going to tell you how to vote on that. But I will say that what's not really being mentioned is that the majority of the projects, and the first one I really support, the new fire station on the south side, along with some improvements to the PD facility. However, what's not being stated out loud is that those facilities cannot be staffed through this bond. This is just simply one of those bricks and mortar bonds. We can build things, but we can't staff them. And so what the question I pose to everybody is, how do we plan to pay for them? And knowing finances very well, having served for a long time on the Finance Committee, most likely we're going to need to do an operational property tax, which is the last tax we debated because it doesn't go to the voters. And so it will most likely mean an increase. I mean, that would be the one I would recommend. And I would recommend it for public safety. I think we need that fire station on the south side. I pose that question to you so that you're aware. And if you're willing, when you vote on March 6th for that, be certainly aware that it may be followed up with some kind of operational tax that you may not get to vote for.
I believe the biggest difference between Councilor Boucher and I, and of course I do respect her long public service, but I do believe the biggest difference here is that I bring a new level of energy to the table that we have not seen on the council. I bring a new willingness to listen to the constituents and to our community that's sorely lacking on the council at the moment. And I think I bring a new willingness to entertain new ideas and do things differently that we haven't seen before. I mean, these are difficult times. These are changing times. The things that worked 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, don't work anymore. We need new thinking. We need new blood. We need new energy if we're going to get this economy moving, if we're going to get our town moving again. If we're going to make sure that young people can live here and working families can live here, then we need new ideas and we need new thinking. And I bring that to the table.
I respect my challenger's youthful exuberance. I absolutely have been considered, I believe, by my constituents as a strong, independent voice on the council, a progressive voice. And of course I bring all the years of experience, both in the public and the private sector. A lot of the innovative ideas that we've been able to pass through the council, a lot of our water policies, for instance, the sustainable water, we now have achieved a new level of water security that we didn't have when I first ran. That was a very important issue to me, and I really pushed that issue hard, and we came to a good conclusion with a really divided council on that issue. I continue to be very responsive to my district. I hear that all the time. I call back and it's like, you're known as someone to call if you want to get something done at City Hall.
Well, my earliest experience with budgeting and financing really was personal. My parents believed that I should learn early on how to manage money. So at a very young age, I was given a checking and savings account and a little bit of money, and they said, okay, figure out what to do with it. Moving from there, of course, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, I had a business here in town. And not only was a business, actually a nonprofit that kind of operated as a for-profit because we had a storefront and we're serving coffee. So it was a very strange hybrid, which created all kinds of interesting budgetary and managerial issues. So that actually taught me a tremendous amount about budgets. So I actually have a great deal of experience from my age in creating budgets, sticking to budgets, finding new efficiencies in budgets, finding new ways to get money.
Certainly I've been one of the few small business owners on the council for over 20-some years, going on 25 years. Had to meet a payroll, had to make sure that, you know, we tried to make a profit and still deliver good service. But, you know, certainly you cut your teeth when you confront a city budget. And I've done that now for 18 years. And so it's important experience. And I think it's important experience in these times that we face. So I'm continuing to offer my services to my district. And in fact, it was the majority of my constituents that asked me to run again. I've been reading a lot about that, and we've had some money that we put toward it at the RPA for a feasibility study. And it's an interesting, you know, having been there when we bought the water company, I have my concerns as far as the city being able to really operate another utility, but I am interested in the microgrid. I am interested in seeing it move forward as a concept. But I have to tell you, it really, it may not necessarily be self-sustaining just as alternative energy generator. You know, with cloudy weather here and the like, we're most likely going to have some backup gas generation, and So that'll be interesting to explore.
Well, I just want to say I'm really, really glad this question has been brought up, and I'm really glad to see there seems to be some enthusiasm in the audience for this. I absolutely think this is the thing we should be doing. Not only is my experience growing up in an off-the-grid house telling me that this makes sense, but my experience listening to people who have to deal with P&M day in and day out tells me that this makes sense. And it's an interesting one as a candidate for city council. I've been told by a number of people that Houston, you shouldn't talk about education because you can't vote on it. Okay, that's true. I can't directly vote on education. But as a member of the community, I think that it's important that I be willing to go out and fight all the fights that need to be fought. So I'm excited by the prospect of being a councilor working with the school board to enhance our education system. I'm excited to get on my bike and ride up from City Hall to the legislature to fight with our governor to demand that we have a properly funded, robust education system here in Santa Fe.
We currently have a really good relationship with the schools. In fact, we have former school board members on our council. What I can tell you is that where we can, we provide resources. We have joint powers agreements to build ball fields, soccer fields, crossing guards, to pay for crossing guards. We have designated 2% of our general fund to funding youth and family programs. I specifically went after $1 million in capital improvement funds to build Warehouse 21's teen center, which is a great facility for our youth. This has been one of my favorite topics, actually. I'm very passionate about trying to get our property crime rate down in the first place. I've had constituents that have been broken into twice in a week. One of them, I think he had 6 in a month. So, for starters, we need to get our cops back in town. We can't have community policing when we don't have cops living in our town. Our first responders, fire and police, up to 80% of them don't live here. Perhaps a housing incentive, whatever is going to work, whatever it's going to take to get them back up here. If it's a pay incentive, we've got a survey going on to make sure that they really tell us why it is they don't live here and how to get back here. You know, everything from trying to have the latest and greatest in terms of technology and resources. I've been a strong advocate for continuing to fund at the highest levels.
What are we going to do about it? Well, I see there being 3 things that need to happen, and they need to happen at the same time. Number 1, we need to make sure that our police, our fine, hardworking police, are properly resourced. Number 2, we must bring our police officers home. It is a true shame that these hardworking, fine individuals have felt the need to leave Santa Fe for Bernalillo, for Albuquerque, for Rio Rancho, because they couldn't build a life here. We need to change that. We need to change it immediately. The third thing we must do, and I've said this about some other issues, is we need to create economic opportunity so that people can choose a life of prosperity, not a life of crime. Obviously, the high quality of life here we enjoy is a big theme of mine, and I'm absolutely not only want to preserve it, but I'd love to find ways to enhance it. Clearly, the work we've done with bike trails and open spaces has been fantastic, and of course, I want to build on those successes as council. I think that we should look at innovative ways of creating bike sharing programs and vehicle sharing programs that we can reduce the number of cars out on the road and make it easier for people to afford these other transportation options.
One of the greatest pleasures I've had actually serving on the council has been the ability to really move forward with our connectivity on trails on road and off road in Santa Fe. It's been wonderful to see the bike community grow. In fact, one of the first things I did when I got on the council was to put an ordinance and say that we need to map out our open space and see if we can create a green belt around the city. And so there are so many things that to enjoy here in Santa Fe. I'm a biker, I'm a skier, I love our natural beauty. It's one of the many reasons that a majority of you, if you've come from somewhere else, have come here for.
Thank you, candidates, and that concludes our forum. I want to thank you for your good questions and your time and attention. It was an honor to be your moderator tonight. This is the last of 4 forums that were hosted by the Santa Fe County Democratic Party. I think we really had some great answers. I think you drew some contrasts among yourselves, so I commend you for a great debate.